Oh, there we go. All right, let's get the meeting on a roll here. We have all our members present. So we have a quorum. Gil, do you have an American flag here?
No, is there no one, there's none in that room?
No, we'll get that straightened out, but can you lead us
I
to
can
the
walk
pledge of
out to the
allegiance?
porch, but,
No, just lead us in the pledge of allegiance. We'll pretend.
okay,
Go
stay
ahead.
seated. Okay, well, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Anybody have any added agenda items?
You pass around Jason's presentation.
Oh, well, yeah, why don't you
Do
do
that
that?
under other economic issues.
Yeah, we can do it there because I wanted to ask a question about it anyways. Okay, excellent. No other added agenda items? Public participation? I don't see any via Zoom. Give 30 seconds. Anybody come through the door? Sarah, do you want to say anything? I know you usually just want to sit there and throw darts at us, so. Cool.
I don't know that that's accurate, but okay.
All right, approval of minutes and meeting dates. I need one of you guys to make a motion and someone to second it. And we can discuss it.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes
Yeah, we can get rid of that Andy.
of February 1st.
Did I hear a
Look at the
second from you, Gil?
Second,
Okay.
second for that. I
Any
have,
discussion?
yes, I have
Go
a
ahead.
correction. On
Yep.
the third page on, under D, the name of the director of Hartford Transit Authority was Vicky Shotland, Shotland. I think we have it misspelled as shall or
Sharp.
something. Chart, okay, that's the only correction I have.
Okay.
Is there
Any others?
recording secretary, is that Sabo or Sabo?
No, we,
Sabo. Her name is Sabo. She's
Sabo.
not here tonight.
we have the computer.
All right, Sabo, okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, moving, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Okay, update on commercial real estate promotions. I've been gathering a list. And this is a rough draft. I signed it Jason Bowser, but it might not necessarily come from him. This is a letter that we're gonna be sending out to like CBRE and a few of the others here, so you can have a copy of it.
Thank you.
Gil, I'm gonna read it out loud because you're not here with me.
Yeah,
okay?
that'd be good. I didn't pick up a package. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And again, this is a rough draft. This is nothing carved in stone. It's just we need to do some outreach here to the commercial realtors. It's a letter, okay, and it's TZY Realty. And it says the East Windsor Economic Development Commission would like your assistance in our continuing efforts to promote East Windsor's commercial opportunities. If you currently have or acquire listings for commercial properties, both for sale or lease, could you provide copies of the listing to us in electronic format as you have sent them? As you would have sent, sorry, that's there, Jimmy. Would have sent a prospective buyer. The East Windsor Economic Development Commission will be promoting through various avenues, free, and you and your firm are under no obligation. We have to make that clear. I don't think we're trying to charge it. Please provide this info to, and that gets to the end of it. I don't know who we're gonna have these sent to. They should be sent to a town email. And then they can be forwarded to me for what we need to do with it. Sincerely, I was gonna have it come from the first selectman if he agrees to it. So it makes it sound a lot more official. Okay? And that's where we're at.
Okay, should your name not be on it or letterhead or something, Jim?
It would be on town letterhead, and I'm unimportant compared to, say, the first selectman or Ruth We want these realtors to be able to reach out to the town. What if I retire next year? You know, we wanted to continually, and that's why the email
Sure.
aspect of it. You know, Jason might be willing to put his email in there just because it would keep him up to date on what's available in town as the first selectman. And he could forward it to me, which I know would not be a problem. He forwards me stuff all the time. So
Thanks.
that's why, if we're in agreement that this letter looks good, I'd like Jason to have it, to send it to Jason. Because one, it's coming from him. And two, he's a better wordsmith than I've ever been. So
And can you repeat, Jim, where this letter is going to be addressed to or to whom?
it's going to be addressed to commercial realtors such as CBRE, DW, is it DW Williams? I always want to say DW, it might be D Williams. There's a few, I've been making a list, and once we get it set, what I would do is I would provide Jason's office with a name and address, you know, who to send it to.
Okay.
We're already doing some with the local realtors, like Bill Arts. Had some things out, and we've been promoting.
Yeah. Everything
So,
all right? Fire drill? It's just,
Somebody
Yeah,
trying,
someone's locked out.
we're locking people out again, Joe.
I didn't know.
maybe Bob.
Is that our secretary?
Hi, hi, it's locked, I couldn't get
I
in.
unlocked this back door.
I didn't
unlock
know, I'm
this door.
sorry, and I started.
Sure, disrupt our meeting. It's our recording
recording
secretary disrupting the
Actually, give you
meeting.
my number so you can call. But
Make a
yeah,
note of
I-
that.
Okay, it's recording online.
Alright.
Can I just
Yeah,
offer up some information on some efforts that are ongoing? which
Sure.
You know about.
right,
There's a developable properties tool on our website
right.
that we do have properties that are on the market on there. There were meetings with real estate agents. Kind of offering that up to populate, I think, you know, it, 'cause I sent you something.
No, actually, this, when we put this information out, that would be part of it to direct them there. But this is to get the actual listing from the agent for us to promote it for them. And at the same time, because we have our tool, what we would do is when we finally put this out, say on LinkedIn, Facebook, a website somewhere, it would say, XYZ property is available. This is the listing from the agent. And if you can also find this information on our town. It also would allow us to, when we need to update the town's database, say a new listing comes on tomorrow. These guys have the listing, realize they have a free avenue to promote. I mean, that's what it's all about, is giving them an opportunity to promote their properties a little more. And the more we know about it in-house, it makes it easier for the staff to deal with when they come in looking to do something.
Yeah, if we get one of these properties, if they're not on the town website, can we go in there and upload it to the town website?
Yes, then we have a spreadsheet that we upload from,
So,
so we have admin staff that knows how to get on there.
so if I got one, just forward it.
Right,
Can we keep the?
a good example, who
town
you work
website?
for,
Yeah.
who you work for. You may have a property
Yeah.
that's been repossessed, bad word, but just using it. The town wants to know if it's in East Windsor because we want to help you
Right.
sell it.
Mhm.
And that's all this is coming down to. What I do want to do though is get a letter together because sometimes, you know, you can say things and say things, a letter might make a difference. The postage we take out of our budget, you know, we were talking about spending money. This is where we would spend the money, is on the postage for, if we did this, once we get this finalized, my vision is to send 10 letters at a time. So it's just kind of, so we can track, see if we get any response. The reason I was involved with Jason is because he's the first selectman. We would always want this information to maybe go to the first selectman. Because they might be the first point of contact for an individual. So again, that's why I wanted to send the letter to Jason to look over. One, his name would be on it, and two, he might have some real good suggestions I hadn't thought of. And also, this is why it's a rough draft to you all. Again, Gil, I'm sorry you're not here, but Brian, if you think something more should be there, certainly you've been out of the business for long enough. You
I
know,
don't have more time, I'll take,
okay, well, as a commission, let's just move this forward to Jason to look at and see if he has any problems with it, et cetera. And get him to confirm if we should use his email. Or maybe he wants to go to root. I mean, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I just don't know how it wants to be handled internally here. And that's up to them.
Jim, you just want a
All right.
consensus? You just want a
The
consensus?
consensus to move forward. Yeah,
Very good.
yeah, unless somebody sees a real flaw. You know, if we see flaws, we need to state it. If we don't see any, then we want to move it forward to the next step.
Good,
All right,
thanks.
that's what we got, and I've got a list that I'm creating of the commercial realtors. And
Is it, can you send me your electronic version of this?
yes, I can.
All right.
I was smart enough to make a document, not like sometimes where I just read it out and then forgot about it. All right, next thing we got on our list is the plan for the town hall meet and greet. That's a copy. All right, I got Bill's copy. Did you get a chance to look at the calendar in the big room to see? At that point, I couldn't go in there. If you want, I'd be glad to go in and look and steal a date. Don't they have
No,
a
I
big-
have checked with Melissa, she's the owner of that.
Okay, all right, once we get that date. Well, what I have, Gil, I'm gonna hold it up, I really can't see it, but it's a flyer agenda of that meet and greet we were talking about in April.
Yes,
And I'm gonna read it so everybody knows, so you know what we're talking about, okay?
okay, thank you, Jim.
Yep. Again, this is a rough draft. I called it East Windsor Business and Government Meet and Greet. Somebody has a better name, please say something. Date April something 2022, East Windsor Town Hall, main room. What's that called, by the way? The
John Davis.
John Daly. That's new for some of us that haven't been able to be in the building. Yeah, all the stuff like I said to you was electronic. This, basically, this is an opportunity for you, what the flyer would say is, this is an opportunity for you, the business person, to network with each other and our community's officials. Clean and simple. Then I put the night's agenda on the actual flyer, because if I'm coming, I want to know what's gonna happen. 5:30 would be arrival, networking, refreshments. We talked about using part of our budget. I'm talking loud, I'm just making sure.
Yes,
Okay, and so that would be the time to do that. 6 o'clock-ish. A welcome for First Selectman Jason Bowser. What I would ask Jason to do, which would have been really neat at the last meet and greet, I'm gonna make it, this is my suggestion box. Is for the persons that are there to give their name and what their profession is. Brian would say banker.
Mhm.
You know, Bill would say troublemaker.
happily
Sarah,
retired.
you know, it's simple, but what happens is that identifies for each person in the room, somebody they might want to talk to. It also puts a name to it.
You know, Jim,
Um,
you could also, I'm a proud Teamster retiree. We want to give them the,
I like troublemaker.
I like
I like
Teamsters.
trouble.
We're troublemakers.
Okay. 6:15-ish, I know P and Z, I watched recently, whatever their last meeting was. They're working on some new stuff, or we're working on some new stuff. If it's ready by then, this is all rough draft, this is if we have things in
Yeah,
order.
we'll be chatting about public hearing stuff.
Right, well, I understand all that, but that's why I put it, it's all rough draft. I.e. some zoning changes, if we don't have that from, say, planning and zoning, maybe another group might have something. At that point, the Arts and Cultural Commission might want to talk about some things they're doing with the mural down there on Bridge Street, is it, or South Road, or somewhere down where I was going. I should know better, I live down there. Well, something positive, something that shows the town is involved in its community. and so on. The guest speaker would be determined upon, once we set the date. I've talked to a few people and that's been pretty much the response. Well, what date is it, Jim? And I go, I don't know. So as soon as we have that, I'll give you a guest speaker and then the program ends. As you can see, it's a very much easygoing, nice flow, very similar to what they did with the town official night there, which I thought was great. And we invite all the East Windsor businesses or those that have an interest in East Windsor. And our cost would be the, unless we decide we want to advertise, which I don't recommend, I think you can reach enough people. But our real cost would be the cost of the food, which I think it was 200 or something that they had given us. As a amount. So other than us getting the date set and the speaker set, and then as we get closer, we would not start promoting this till almost the end of March if the program is the end of April. There's no reason
Okay.
to. Okay?
I have a comment, Jim, if I might.
Sure.
Yeah, on the keynote speaker, there'd probably be a Q&A afterwards. So our subject is business here in town, or spreading the word on business and or real estate. So in thinking about a speaker, you'd have to kind of feel out how he's going to blend into the room, people there.
Right.
So that's
Right.
not just something that you can just briefly say, hey, we'll look at a speaker. You got to really think about a speaker.
Well, one of the speakers I was thinking of was Senator Anwar, who is very familiar with business. But if not him, someone else in the area, someone that would be of interest to business people. Gil,
Well, we met one the
it
other day.
might be, I might be able to wrangle like George Herman from the president of Windsor Federal to come talk for a few minutes.
Sure.
I'm not saying I would, I'm name dropping there, but I'm saying that's what I need to do. But I can't do it without a date, because it's like saying, hey, I'm gonna have a party, but I'm not inviting you to it. I'm not gonna tell you what date, just show up. Commit to me. So that's what I'm trying to get us to. As you can
And you
see,
could
the
always
whole
be
thing.
Plan B. Jim,
Huh?
you could be plan B, Jim, because you speak well.
Yeah, right, Gil. We don't need things thrown at people. Smart. So if that sounds like a plan, then I'd like to move, I'm with Brian.
Is there any way that we can tie this part of this meeting of the rail, because this is,
We could use that in our positive announcement part, absolutely. If Jason gets deeply involved there, he might mention it. He at the end of our meeting, and Ruth got the things to pass out. We attended a breakfast last week at NCC breakfast. Oh my gosh, I was blown away. I haven't heard a selectman from East Windsor ever talk like he did. Okay, it made me, if I was a business person, it would want me to open my checkbook and say, how do I get involved? Okay. He made us sound, compared to the other communities, and I'm not insulting them, but we got our act together. Okay, everything from the erase grants. I mean, Summers was just announcing that they're going to do it. Joe Courtney was there and announced that East Windsor started it. So we've got quite a momentum, and we're sitting in the middle of Enfield. I mean, I'm like in a room of people that don't belong to East Windsor, so it was great. Really, really good. Gil, you felt so too. Good program, right?
I thought it was nice of Joe Courtney to sit down and chat with us and complimented our town, including, directed at Jason of the accomplishments so far as the federal grant that went. So I felt pretty comfortable there. I know in my report, which will be brief, I did make mention of transportation because of what Summers EDC person had to say. But yeah, I was glad I was there. I was in good company along with you and Ruth Ann.
We tried to see ourselves. So anyways, that's pretty much what the meet and greet in April. Has anybody got a problem with the program? I mean, Brian, you can see it as a cut and dry business meeting. You attended 1,000, I'm sure. The uniqueness of this is government officials compared to just meeting other businesses or a business sponsoring it. In a sense, the town is sponsoring this. And they're inviting all the businesses. Hopefully, we get a few people in, maybe from some newer businesses like the girl from the boutique down the street and Bobby from the pizza joint, you know, some new faces from town that have opened businesses that don't know everybody. You never know, we might get a few people like Peter O'Malley might show up, you might get Jay Ursery, you know, some of the people that deal, it's just a good way to do business, is saying hi, and we're doing it cheaper, there's no alcohol, we don't have to rent a hall. I mean, to me, it's one of the simpler things you can do. So are we in agreement and going forward, Gil?
Yes, Jim, we just nailed down a date. That's all.
Yep.
We know that you
All right.
can,
Then a speaker.
be the speaker.
Okay. Summertime Shop East Windsor campaign. Need a lot of extra work for myself. Can you tell? Recording secretary. I did good on this copy, so got one for everybody for once. Okay, we were talking about a Shop East Windsor for the summertime. That's next on the agenda, Gil. Shop East Windsor.
I have it.
And
here.
what I got is a piece of paper here that I'm gonna read out loud so you catch it, all right? After much thought, I decided that notice I said I, and I should be a team here, so y'all argue. Please do.
I did that silently.
Okay. See, you're all, Ruth is learning to appear. See, this is good. So I decided that what we really need to do is step up our tourism. And you do that with a Visit East Windsor program. So then I got thinking, well, what's there in East Windsor? We have the Connecticut Trolley Museum, we have the historical, but we have a lot of other things. So I said, what's the theme the town has been using? And they've been putting out that magazine, the Five Village Voice. So we're gonna capitalize on the five villages, is what I'm thinking. In other words, to keep following suit on what's already been started and not reinventing the wheel. And the title of what we're discussing, and we don't need to, all this is rough draft, but we need to do something by May, is Summer in the Five Villages, visit our five villages. Have you visited the five villages lately? We need to emphasize we're five villages, because each village is unique and separate. Gil, this is the part where we all participate, so jump in if you want to say something. Don't raise your hand. And then I wrote down some ideas of what each village offers. Warehouse Point, obviously, I wanted to include Route 5, so automobiles, restaurants, sports dome, but it also has a huge box store, two major grocery stores, Sophia's Plaza. And then I went a little further up the way. Oh, Trolley Museum's there. And Bastille Plaza. Also for shopping, we have Broadbrook Main Street. As you can tell down here, this is turning into quite a little destination. Recently, the gallery had its art show. And the chamber took advantage of it by saying, come to the art display. But also while you're here, why don't you have breakfast or lunch at the damn restaurant? Or lunch and dinner at the Main Street Grill, both are members of the chamber. And while you're also down there, get your picture taken in front of the iconic music mural. Again, promoting the generality of what's down there. But this might be something where we come up with maybe a listing of some ideas. I just don't know. That's why I'm trying to get it out in front of us. We might end up being fall before we pull this off, because we need to think about how we're going to present each village and so on. Farms and small niche stores are basically in Windsorville, Melrose has stables, gift shops, farms. This is what's out there. And the Scantic offers the nature trails. That goes along with somebody that's into nature and stuff. They also come through, buy gas, shop, and eat meals, etc. So all of these have something to do with tourism and economic. I don't know if we could get Historical Society, they're stepping up lately. I just saw a plan at WPCA of what they're planning, which will create a second destination on top of the Trolley Museum. And so if we had 3 destinations, I always like to have 3 points on mine. Okay, so this is why I say we need to think about, for the next meeting, not tonight, unless you guys have a brainstorm, on what we need to do to promote the 5 villages. And again, I'm open to suggestions, Bill.
Yeah, you know, while you're saying that, you listed a few places. You should also include the programs that, including the Warehouse Point Library. They have various programs there for the public. I went to one on training your dog, but you still can't come to the front porch because the dog's gonna bark pretty loud. But training dogs, and then also there's in the summer at the Historical Society, they have the ice cream social, which I think
Right.
they'll probably start that again because of COVID. They didn't have it, where they have free weddings to any couple who wants, and there's free haircuts at the barbershop. So
Right.
Jim, you could put on an Abe Lincoln type hat and do some weddings. I did the first one, so I've given up my robe basically, and you can probably not fit into my top hat, but you could find one at the party store.
I'm not touching that, okay? Also, the Trolley Museum, in all honesty, they're hiring new staff, they're growing. So we've got quite a few things. The other thing that we don't think of is things like architecture. The churches, there's 2 I know of on Main Street, East Windsor, Grouse Point. The one where the food,
Pauline Stock.
thank you. Old age is setting in, Sarah, you know me long enough. The upstairs, if you've never been in the church up there, holy moly, talk about architecture, beauty. St. John's, I think, is just down the street, same kind of thing. You go inside and it's not what you expect. So I want us to start thinking about, as I said when I started, we're gonna have a wheel, we're gonna have spokes doing all kinds of things. But I really want to think about what we can do to increase tourism to the area, and there's quite a few things. The shopping is one, the restaurants, we have 26 restaurants. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 banquet halls essentially. And 6 if we include the back of Sophia's and Main Street, So we've got quite a bit to offer for such a little community. Our problem is telling the world about it. Okay, so that's, if for our next meeting, let's think tourism. Other things will be being worked on, but let's keep in the back of our minds as we drive around town. Would I bring my relatives to this? It's like when my relatives used to come up to East Windsor, I would always go to the Connecticut Trolley Museum. Last time my cousin Chris was here, I'm walking around and I'm telling him everything I know. And he's going, do you work here? And I'm thinking, oh, I've come here way too many times. So it's something, we need to think about. And if we could do that with the sports complex that's going to be opening in Windsor Locks, with the train stations, this is stuff, if we might even in the end come up with some kind of brochure pamphlet. Not yet, just keep in the back of your minds, even if it's an electronic, of why I would want to visit the 5 villages, okay? So, I want that.
Also, not to cut you off. Also, if I did visit East Windsor and why, I want to know where am I going to stay? So you should promote our various hotels included.
Right. Hotels. Actually, Windsor Locks will be very thrilled if we sell our hotel space to the people from the sports complex, because they're first selected and worked the deal when they built them. It sounds like they're getting a piece of the action. In other words, if I come to the sports complex in Windsor Locks for an event and I stay overnight at the Baymont Inn in East Windsor, I think they're somehow getting a piece of the action. Windsor Locks still. Talk about a suite, the past first selectman was very smart about how he worked to deal with that. And it's a lot, so. And that's turning, you work over there, you can see what's going on to that main street, what they're trying to do, whether they accomplish it or not. But it's coming. All right, so with that, I don't want to beat ourselves up too much. You know me, I like to try to keep things to an hour if I can pull it off. Transit Authority update. Brian, I did not look at any of them. Did you send this information? I didn't look at it. I'm being
Thanks, Jim.
honest. I'm being honest. So could you maybe give us a quick update on the transit stuff?
I think it's just a minutes to the meeting that they had back in, like what you said, back in 2020.
Oh, okay.
And it was with the East Windsor Hunger Action Team. And they tied it around Mill Pond because there's programs out there that the transit will set up routes to have them go to grocery stores, because there's no grocery stores around there.
Right.
And the population that's based in Mill Pond, there's enough people there to they were trying to work on getting a transit route from the Mill Pond out to the grocery stores and back.
Yeah. Are they still trying to do that?
No, with COVID, it just fell to the side. Melissa's gonna follow up with me
Okay,
with a contact that they were working with.
well, it's something. that
And
you
Gil,
can
she
follow.
might follow up with you too. I'm not sure. Jason and Melissa, they were working with somebody with the state. And she said she would reach out to you or me with the contact person that they were working with. But it's, you know, it's tied to hunger, and since there's no major grocery store there,
Sweet.
so that's how they were trying to tie it in together.
Right, we have 3 possibilities that could cover that.
Yeah.
Which should also get them down to the Route 5 area.
Right.
Excellent, excellent work. Okay, well, then we're waiting to hear from them at this point, correct?
Yeah, I'll follow up with
Okay,
Melissa.
there's nothing, I want to make sure we're
No,
not, okay. All right,
Good work, Brian.
Yep.
You follow up then, Brian?
Yeah, I'll
You
follow
can
up with
follow
Melissa.
up on it. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks.
now we're at the point of, unless there's further discussion on that, we're at the point about other economic issues. Gil, we're gonna talk about the North Central breakfast, so if you want to say what you said at that event there about transit and how the
Yeah.
similarities.
Okay, first of all, it was well attended, and I think Jason was right on key when he start talking about the progress that East Windsor has over the years and since he's been there. But there's a lot of good things that going on, but it's down towards infield and the Route 5 work, and a lady from Summers, EDC chair, I believe, mentioned that all these things are nice, but we have a transit problem. We can't get to that. And I said, bing, the idea came. I said, holy cow, I've been a decade with beating the same drum. And so I hesitated for a while, but I finally got up after the questionnaire. I think I kind of went a little overboard because I went to the podium and and mentioned that it was, first of all, it was good to have company in the same quest that I have. And I don't think it was her main thing going. It just happened to be in her speech, but I kind of stumbled through it. There's I made mention of the magic carpet. It's the blue line in infield, basically serving those less fortunate for transportation of their own, like in Thompsonville. And it does serve the whole infield area. And to copy something like that would be great, or to expand on that would be great. And I should have perhaps directed it right to the Senate. Was that Kissel, or Kissel was there?
Yes.
I should have directed that right to him, but I've been directing to a lot of the government officials over the last 10 years, including Dan Malloy when he stood out in front of the hotel that they refurbished, and Jason was on the stump there campaigning, and I says, Governor, right over there, the other side of that pond that's behind us, there's at least 10% of our residents there, and most of them don't have their own transportation. He says, I'll take care of you. And that was the last I heard from Dan Malloy. But I did kind of stumble in because I wasn't prepared, but I think I got a message across that it's nice to have all these good things that a lot of these towns are talking about, including Jason. But it would be also nice to have transportation to get to these nice things. So we're out in the boonies and tobacco fields in Broadbrook. And obviously I didn't even think of Summers. Same thing. And we all have that, what's that, dial-a-ride. And they do take the elderly to grocery stores on Old Folks Day or something, but you do need the transportation that Brian had started talking about, just transportation to a grocery store and not a dedicated day. But and I'm probably talking too much right now, but good for you, Brian, and stick with that. And you got a good person, but I call her Missy, but Melissa, good for you. That's all I wanted.
Thank you, Gil. The breakfast was really good. It was an opportunity for us to regional communicate. Like I said, sitting there listening and trying to be open-minded. And obviously, I've dealt with Enfield and Summers and these towns for years. We as a community sound like we got our act together. Whether we do or not, doesn't matter. It matters that it seems that way. Jason did a great job. I don't know, Ruth, did I miss something? Anything? Oh, I know, I did have something. The passport program.
It's in there.
Oh, okay. Jason mentioned that, and we need to get behind whatever he does on that. I know.
Yeah. Those are stuff just as your
Okay. So whatever, we're gonna start working with the first selectman's office because he does have quite a few ideas. And I think it's good that the different commissions work together. And I'm hoping that the selectmen as a board will attend these events. I know Sarah attends them anyways because she's trouble, but it would be good if we get all the selectmen to attend once in a while. Maria Sousa has, Jason has. Alan actually, I remember years ago when he was a selectman prior, actually did a grand opening for a business. So it's good when these guys come out because the businesses remember it. And it's much easier when they have a problem with the community, if they feel that at least there's somebody they can talk to instead of some faceless person that just takes their money once a year, so these things are good. And also you never know what you're going to learn. The things that Jason talked about, but also what they talked about up in Enfield with their train station, because that's not that far away from us. I actually want to look at the miles because our warehouse point, if the mileage is right, you fall into what they call a trans-oriented district. It changes the whole game of what you can and can't do. It makes things easier. I want to say that I think it might be the airport I'm thinking of. Is that where you get the duty-free stuff or you can store stuff is in these zones? We fell into it originally. Warehouse Point barely reached it because of Bradley Field. Before the train station, we were putting it in the center of Bradley and you had to measure like 6 miles and 34. And because it fell into the river, we convinced them, Lori Whitten did it, convinced whoever we were dealing with, this is it. Now with the train stations coming in, it becomes more possible. We also have to look at walkability, which is, I'm old, I won't walk that far, but young people will. And,
Warehouse Point.
yeah, big time. It really can come of age. The problem with Warehouse Point right now, and I don't know if you've been down there looking, Geisler's Plaza. The pharmacy is gone.
Yeah.
Right.
The bank is gone. The insurance company is gone. Okay? That doesn't mean they're gone forever. The Walgreens closed because they got one across the river and they bought it right. I mean, there's business decisions being made. Hometown Realty is now opening up at Sophia's Plaza. They weren't. I kept waiting for Bill to emailed me and said we were open, but I noticed today there's a card and
Oh, really?
somebody's working there.
Is that their second location?
Second location, the other one's up by
In Enfield, yeah.
in town hall, near the town hall.
Right.
Right. On
Town Green.
Enfield Street. So we've got some work to do. Sophia's Plaza's got some empty spaces. Bassdale, last I knew, was full. But again, the big problem is up 140 has to do more with water than the plazas themselves. Trying to think what else. Yeah, so that's where we're at. I mean, unless somebody else has anything else, sounds like Jason's got some ideas that I just want to make sure that we as a team are going to join in and put our efforts toward once he asks something of us. You know, and when I say Jason, I mean Board of Selectmen, you understand that. So we're in good shape. I mean, unless somebody's got something else. Gil, are you all set for the evening?
I'm all set for the evening. Thank you. Jim?
Okay, Brian.
I'm also-
Ruth, did I miss anything that you needed to talk about?
No, just this is reflective of all the tools and efforts that are currently going on in the town and plans for that passport program. And then I'm just gonna bring it up because it's big news, the Gravel Pit Solar Project
Ooh,
had their kickoff meeting. Last week or the week before, Friday before last. So they're gonna start clearing trees and getting like.
Yeah, I think they started already.
Yeah, yeah. So, just wanted to make note of that. We'll know they're out there.
so that's gonna be exciting. Actually, the Arts and Culture Commission is discussing doing, you know, because there's a lot of negative press about solar panels. And they were talking about maybe doing something positive, solar energy. I mean, it is the way of the future, electric cars, you know. So, and again, there's something like, if we haven't, like, if this was 3 years ago, we were having the 250th anniversary, we'd be pushing a tourism, you know, come to our big celebration. I would have certainly approached the hotels in town. Maybe arrange something. We have a local travel agent, Sandy's Travel. Do you know Carrie? Do you know Carrie Picos? She's
I
a
do not.
resident.
Last name
Yours?
is,
Yeah. Carrie Picos, she works at Sandy's Travel in Sophia's Plaza. She's a resident.
What's her name?
Carrie, Carrie.
The blonde haired lady or gray blonde?
Yes,
lady?
sells
Yeah,
birdhouse.
I've used her for, I've used that travel agency.
Right,
Yeah.
we might be able to do a deal with them. You know, hotels pay 10% to travel. That's why I said, we gotta start, there used to be, the tourism aspect is important to the economy. The reason I say that is I've served on tourist boards. We actually are part of the tourist board. I don't know if we have a representative anymore. I think I was the last one. Because you go down, you meet, and it's all about state stuff, which is nice, but we need to do our own promotions. We need to do our own. We're close enough to the border, and with the electronic stuff that's out there, we certainly could build our own packages, for lack of a better term. So that's why I say, think about it. These things have been done. When people used to come to, when you have a wedding at Lenote's, for instance, the Baymont used to have a room set aside for Lenote's guests.
right.
They got a special rate, and they could drink all they want, and then they get carted back to the hotel, you know. Matter of fact, I know Barbara Copperhouse was doing something with one of the hotels, that people could be at the hotel and go. So this is why I say there's stuff that we should maybe be talking about. Maybe some business, a private entity might pick up on it and just do it for us. That'd be great. But in the meantime, we could maybe work toward that goal. Okay? Hearing nothing else?
I have one thing.
Okay,
Yeah, if you would. Yeah, you know, people come and go in East Windsor and one of our villages. And if a new person or new family came in, we don't have a brochure to say, these are our churches, these are our restaurants, this is where you find a plumber, things like that. I think that would be something for some of the business people to advertise. who they are, just mention Plummer, who they are and where they can be found. For new people here in town, it's just something I thought of.
Included in the welcome package that the selectman's office gives out, but I can check into that.
No, that's a good idea.
Sarah, you know about that, Sarah, or did you find
I
out?
haven't seen the welcome packet for quite
Yeah.
a few years.
It's
Jason
kinda
just
neat.
made mention the other day, which that's why it's fresh in my mind.
We
like,
have,
what's
we
in
haven't, the
there?
board hasn't seen it, so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, again,
I
we're
can ask.
revitalizing programs here in East Windsor, and I think that's a good point, Gil and Sarah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
No, I
mind
think
finding
that's
out.
a great idea.
And however we can assist with that. Because
Sure.
they're gonna do a welcome packet, right? They're gonna need businesses to participate. To get businesses to participate, you gotta reach out to them.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right. Now that we got, anything else, Gil?
That's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Thank you for
Sure.
being here, Sarah and Ruth Ann.
Brian, you got anything?
No, I'm all set.
Ruth, you're all set? Okay, with that, a motion to adjourn from somebody?
I'll move to adjourn. I'll second.
I'll second.
Yeah.
All in
Whichever
favor?
way you want to do it.
We're all on the
Good luck.
same page.
It's fair.
Okay,
I did.
Thanks, Gil.
So it shall be.
thank you, Jim. I'm going off air here. Thank you.
Hey, that presentation of Jason's.
I'm
you have
leaving.
that in what-
I don't, but I could ask him about that.
Take that off record, probably.